Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, to be specific. My name is Brian Engelman.
And I am Blake Wally.
And you have now entered the Agree to Disagree program.
All right.
Still learning what our... it's still making noise.
Yeah.
Still making noise.
Still making noise. I don't know what's going on. But here we are.
Hold on.
Live.
I'm hearing a playback. Oh, hold on.
Hitting the wrong buttons.
What's going on. There we go. We had it playing on the YouTube channel, and it was giving the feedback. We're better now. We're learning. We're learning how to get.
You got to hit the pause button because it's like a 10-second delay. But hello, everybody. Sorry for the technical issues. We are live, and we are got a hell of a show for you today.
Yes, we do.
I
think this is probably the one that we would. This is probably our intro, I would say.
Yes, sir. That is the proper intro. I was going to try to make an extended version that'll be a little longer, start with a countdown. Work in progress as I try to get
it would be cool if you could pull up some clips of like when we were out at events, like if it could show, like, I don't know if you could portray, like if there's pictures of us at the Bundy Ranch and like with little like we're at Occupy LA, we're at the Bundy Ranch, we're at NAMM, we're at the RNC, the DNC, like it's just kind of like showing us in all these places doing all these things, something like that. But yeah, I like that one. That's pretty good. I love the colors in that picture of me in that Barney's Beanery. Like just the colors are so, here, we'll see it one more.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good colors in that. I like that. So, hey, thanks for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you.
Impromptu. But yeah, we're still re-rolling on these. We're just going to get into our rhythm. This is our getting the show rolling, the ball rolling, and we'll have a fine-tuned in another month or so.
Exactly. Hopefully. Let's jump into a story that you did not have on the list, but I think it'd be a fun place to start.
Okay.
Because it's different. So a big story this week, and I have been doing a sports show called The Unhappy Hour for a long time, and I'm a Cleveland Indians, Cavs, Browns, and Buckeye fan my whole life, and I've watched LeBron James' career arc, and for 20 years this guy's been playing out of his mind. Brought a title to Cleveland, broke the Cleveland curse. He's won 4 championships, I think 4 MVPs. He's been cheated on several MVPs that he could have had, but he now passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the #1 all-time scoring leader in NBA history. Only 7 people have ever held this title. In the entire history of the NBA, only 7 people have been NBA scoring champs. And LeBron now has this, and he doesn't really have signs of slowing down just yet. So you wonder how much more he can put on that resume. So, yeah, I mean, this is the trade deadline day. A lot of things happening. I know you referenced a little bit of stuff going on with the Suns and some of the other stuff. Kevin Durant, that's a huge deal. Kyrie, I mean, they're just having a fire sale there in Brooklyn. But, yeah, I mean, LeBron now owns the scoring record. Blake, is LeBron James the GOAT? LeBron James is the GOAT, greatest of all time. Do you agree or disagree?
I I am the biggest fairweather basketball fan in the world, Brian, and I'm wearing my Wolves T-shirt, which I got because I thought they were going to be a great team this year with the Rudy Gobert trade. But I guess I was wrong. What do I know about it? I do enjoy the sport of basketball, but if your team's not good, it's not worth watching. So I haven't really had a lot of NBA to watch with the Wolves. But you were very fortunate. We know Kevin Garnett years were pretty good, but of course LeBron James, a totally different animal, and he's been incredible. And he's actually one of the few people that's really lived up to the hype. So he was in Cleveland. He's won championships, and he's had a long career. And now he's set the scoring record. So that is incredibly impressive. So since I can't really comment on that with the top people or the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, the Michael Jordans, and the Kobe's and everything, it's not really my expertise. But I'll just say he probably is the greatest of all time since he has lived up to the height and he's set the record. So, and he's just had a very long, he's stayed healthy. He's had, I don't know how many championships, but certainly 4. So, yeah, you could absolutely make that argument. He's probably one of the top 5, at least. Where you got Wilt Chamberlain too. I don't know. I don't want to start rattling everybody off, but Brian, you're a much more of a fan of the sport. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you got Bill Russell, you have Wilt Chamberlain, you have Kareem, you have Kobe, Jordan, Shaq. I think when it comes to greatest of all time, it's tough though because people like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, they were unstoppable. I mean, like they had to change the rules of the game because like that 3 seconds rule, the big guys have to stay away because it was just dump it to the guy that's bigger, taller, and stronger that's just going to dunk it every time.
Yeah.
Like they've literally had to change the game over the years to keep the game from becoming what it was when Wilt Chamberlain was dominating. Players like Bill Russell, I mean, just their resumes are incredible. I think when you talk greatest of all time, it's fun to talk about at the bar. It's fun to talk about in the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group, our private group on Facebook. It's fun to talk about at the barber shop and with your buddies. But in a way, it's a dumb conversation. It's just dumb. Like Blake, to prove it, Blake, who is the best guitar player?
Jimi Hendrix, but there's like 50 people you could probably put up there that you could all make an argument for. Right.
Who's the best drummer?
Neil Peart from Rush. I don't know. There's so many.
And there's probably 50 people you can put up there.
Right.
Who's the best bass player?
I don't know. Entwistle of the Who. I don't know. There's so many. Or what's that weirdo Primus guy? Les Claypool. I don't know. There's
or Flea. Yeah, I mean, okay. I think at this point, once you reach GOAT status, you think of it as the pyramid, and there's that top of the pyramid. Like when you reach GOAT status and you get to the very top, there's a lot of people in that top. There's several people, and who's the best quarterback? Well, people might say, what would you say, Blake? Who's the best quarterback of all time?
Brady has to be.
Except Otto Graham went to 10 straight championships with the Cleveland Browns and won 7 of them. He won 7 championships in a lot fewer years than it took Brady. It took Brady 20 years. I mean, they didn't even have face masks when Otto Graham was playing. He got his face smashed in so much, he was bloodied. The picture afterward, he's a mangled wreck. They had to invent the face mask for him. He invented the face mask because he was getting his ass kicked so much. Like, there are greatest of all times generationally. How do you compare an Otto Graham from the 1950s to Tom Brady in 2023? It's just impossible. So it's a silly ass question, but I do contend. I would agree that LeBron James is now the GOAT, but he has been the GOAT for several years. I just think the body of work speaks for itself. He takes incredible care of himself. Longevity is a big deal. I mean, would Bo Jackson have been the number 1 running back in NFL had he stayed healthy? I don't know, maybe, but he didn't.
Maybe the greatest athlete of all time. Who knows?
Or he could what?
Jim Thorpe. Bo Jackson. Deion Sanders. He's not a 2-sport guy, but I think Bo was incredible. till he blew out his knee. That was a big tragedy.
Yeah, and I think he had the hip issue too. He had the hip
Yeah.
as well. But like, longevity counts. Michael Jordan. Oh well, if Michael Jordan didn't take 2 years away, yeah, well he did. I mean, he did. That's legacy.
Ted Williams going into World War II or whatever. Yeah, there you go.
Exact. That was the next one I was thinking of. Ted Williams, one of the greatest of all time. So, yeah, the GOAT conversation is tough, and the LeBron lovers are never going to acknowledge Jordan again. The LeBron haters are never going to get off of Jordan's jock. It's a conversation that will never stop. But it's a team sport, it's a little different if you're talking about golf. Who's the greatest golfer of all time?
Tiger.
I
Or
mean,
just Jack Nicklaus. I don't know.
Tiger. I mean, Tiger was on track to like blow everybody out of the water, and guess what? He had some injuries, and he's really fallen off as of late. Like you thought he was going to be unstoppable. It was going to be a guarantee that he was going to dominate, and maybe that's not quite the case all the time. So anyway, it was just really impressive. I don't like a lot of what LeBron James contributes politically. I think what happened was he really buddied up with Barack Obama when he was president, and Obama's a racial arsonist. He's a community agitator, a community organizer, I think they call it, but it's an agitator. I mean, race relations, and before Obama came in, I mean, people didn't talk about it. People didn't spend their energy on the issue. It was like, okay, well, MTV and pop culture, they're pushing that the black people are the cool kids, like they're all the coolest, and like in music and art and sports. It's like, yeah, all right, cool. I mean, there weren't separate, segregated Americas. It was like, if anything, they were the cool kids. They were the ones that were celebrated the most, and that was pushed on us nonstop. And it was just, I don't know. We grew up in the MLK teachings. People like you and I of our age bracket, we were taught, judge a person on the content of their character. But when Obama came in, oh God, everything took so many steps back. It was like, part of me was like, well, I didn't vote for this guy. I know who he is and I know what he's about, and I don't like what he's about. But if this could help heal some sort of racial trauma that this country has been holding on to for all these years, if that's a plus, then that's a plus. I'd love to see that happen. Unfortunately, it was the exact opposite. And so when LeBron James is calling people out and he's bashing President Trump and he's doxing police officers who are saving the lives of little girls being attacked, and it's like, LeBron, I get that you think you're trying to do something good, but you're really, really causing tons of problems here. But he's from the Barack Obama school. He was taught by Obama and his acolytes, the people around him, that this is how you do it and this is good. He's really been misguided on that. Kaepernick and Nike, everything about America's bad, but they don't talk about any of the abuses over in China with the Uyghurs, and it's so old. That shtick is so old, and that's caused me to really develop a strong sense of disdain and disappointment, frankly, because he's just taken the wrong strategy, the wrong approach. I think he might generally mean well, but it doesn't come off that way to most people.
Well, that's the way it is in this world. So they're used politically. They have to push an agenda. They can't have loose cannons like John Lennon, speaking out against these pop culture figures are huge. They're huge icons, and they can influence the masses. And so they got to keep them under their control, or they can be very problematic for them. So it was easy to get LeBron to play ball with Obama and an agenda, or Colin Kaepernick especially. So, yeah. And if they're going to go against him, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So it's kind of that they're kind of put into that. But it's sad that we have to politicize celebrities. But that's the way it is. That's the way it's turned into.
Mm-hmm. And Keith here just made a comment. Leave your comments, please. Thanks for watching. Keith is saying that LeBron even faked a racial attack on his house. Do you remember this story, Blake? This was when the Cavs were playing the Warriors in one of their titles. I think it was when maybe it was 2017, I believe. It might have been right after the Cavs one. But this was something that always struck me. It felt like a Bubba Wallace. It felt like a Jussie Smollett. You know, you have sports, you have the Chicago overlap. It's the same pattern with these people. It's like it's all acting. You know, LeBron is an actor. Jussie Smollett was an actor, and yeah, there was allegedly bad words spray painted on his garage door at his Los Angeles home. And I'm like, huh? And this was like right during the finals. It didn't make sense. I'm like, well, hold on. What house is LeBron James living in that doesn't have security? Okay, so it's not gated. I don't buy that for a second. Okay, so somebody does scale a gate or get in somehow. Well, where's the video camera? Where's the footage from the surveillance system? Oh, it was down that day. Oh, it just so happened to not be functional. So you didn't even see somebody spray painting there. You go, okay, well, let's take some pictures of it. We washed it off already. You go, you want me to believe somebody got through your moat, across your alligators, the pointy spikes on your fence, got up to your property, and none of your cameras worked, and then you didn't even leave it? You said you cleaned it off before the police even got there? It struck me as a complete bullshit fake story. And that's part of the LeBron James legacy, the question mark there. Now, Michael Jordan, you have the question mark of why did he take 2 years off in his prime? There's a lot of stories about there with Michael Jordan and his gambling. Remember, his dad was killed around the same time. Did David Stern find out about unpaid gambling debts leading to something happening with Michael Jordan's dad? That story's been out there. I'm not claiming that that's what I believe, but look, Michael Jordan retiring at his peak to go play baseball made no sense at all, and his dad was killed right around the same time. It never made sense to me. But yeah, good point, Keith. Like that LeBron potentially faking a racial attack on his house with provided zero evidence that it happened, but definitely wanted to get the accusation out there. Definitely wanted the sympathy. So, LeBron's a bit of a mixed bag. He helped me break the Cleveland
Yeah,
curse.
but is it him? Is it really him pushing that, or is it him under pressure? So that's just kind of what it is. So Jussie Smollett was, close to the Obamas. So did he? Yeah, I mean, he still acted on his own, but I mean, that's the way it is. So some of these guys are normally activists, and maybe somebody like LeBron was kind of forced into activism because he was such a huge part of the culture and such a huge star. So they got him to do their bidding, and he got money. He got more recognition and fame, and that was kind of the trade off. But I don't know if he's really did that all on his own. I kind of doubt it. So I think he was maybe a useful idiot, but you know him far more than I do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to separate the man from
The athlete.
Well, yeah. The guy from the accomplishments. I think the accomplishments speak for themselves. I think statistically, I mean, and by the way, LeBron James is the number 4 assist man in NBA history. Number 4. The 4th most, since the assist has been kept as a stat, he's number 4. Like for a 6'9" power forward, being number 4, and let's see if he can break that record. Nobody thought that would be possible, but here we are. He's the all-time scoring leader. So, yeah, just putting respect on his game. I think the game speaks for itself, and that's something big that happened this week. I was happy for him. But yeah, his other legacy has got a lot of a lot of question marks involved as well. So, anyway, okay. Well, that was just a little timely thing I wanted to get to. Let's jump into some of our prepared stories, shall we?
Right.
James O'Keefe should leave Project Veritas. Do you agree or disagree that James O'Keefe should leave Project Veritas, Blake?
This is an easy disagree. I don't know. So there's a lot of controversy right now, and he might be pushed out. There might be some good reasons behind that. I'm not entirely sure, but it just wouldn't be the same. So he really can't. Otherwise, they just might as well just get rid of Project Veritas. What would it be if he stepped away?
So I mean, this kind of just sort of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, do you have an article on this, like breaking down what we know? I saw the press release that was pretty vague. Like what facilitated this? Like, is it it's the Pfizer expose? You
That's
can
what
only
people are
assume.
thinking. I guess there was an internal memo going around. I found a hit piece on a Daily Beast about that. But yeah, let me pull this up real quick, and I'm going to have to share the screen because I got a few to hit here. So let's see here. James O'Keefe outright cruel to the Project Veritas employees. That's according to an internal memo. Again, this is a hit piece out of the Daily Beast. Also have a tweet from Project Veritas, the official response to today's news reports that they have. Project Veritas has achieved immense growth and impact during the last 3 years. All newsrooms at the age of Project Veritas board of directors and management are constantly evaluating what the best path forward is for the organization. The board and management are continuing this internal evaluation to assure our long-term success. Project Veritas will never stop, and we will never let our supporters down. 65 plus employees dedicated to continuing the mission to expose corruption, dishonesty, waste, fraud, and other misconduct in both public and private institutions. To our supporters, we hear you, care about you, and we will never give up. So, has James O'Keefe, has his ego become too big? And of course, the Daily Beast is saying that O'Keefe was wasting money on his theater dreams, berating staff. Took a sandwich from a pregnant woman, I guess,
I'm
when he
sorry.
was in
Wasting what on what dreams? What's this?
wasting money. So he's got all these donations, and I follow Project Veritas on Telegram or whatever, and I get their emails, and they're always trying to get money to support their operations. But how are they spending that money? I don't know. I don't know O'Keefe. I don't have any. I don't know anything about the internal organization. So it could be a lot of people go under NDAs. Of course, it's very going to be secrecy a lot of what's going on. So I don't know. Apparently, like a third of the staff have signed this memo. They're disgruntled. O'Keefe is, he's a tyrant. So I've heard a lot of things about that with other people in these media outlets because you never know. You sign an NDA, you go work for somebody, and then it turns out, oh, this person is got a huge ego and is doing some bad things, but they're also doing some really good things. I don't know about that. I don't know, Brian, if you've heard anything. I mean, he seems like a nice guy and he's done some terrific work, but has a gun to his head. Apparently, they're saying that he would issue polygraphs even as part of a leak investigation. He was paranoid, which is understandable when you work in that. They do some real high level stuff, and they have to trust the people that work for them. So these could be exaggerated. I don't know. Again, you got to take the Daily Beast with a grain of salt because they don't like him and their organization, and they've been continuously exposing Democrats. Oh, sorry, there was one other quick point I wanted to make since this has been a hot issue. Talking about this is Tim Pool and Cliff High, kind of a little tweet here. This was going viral earlier, just about all the infighting going on with these high-profile people within the independent media, and well, even Trump and DeSantis, or Crowder and the Daily Wire, Tim Cast and the Quartering, and all that going on with Eliza Blue. Now you've got this surprise with Veritas and O'Keefe. So I don't know.
But I mean, forgive me for my ignorance here.
Yeah.
Um, Isn't Project Veritas James O'Keefe's company?
Yeah, but he's got like a board of directors, and they have some amount of power, and maybe they're deciding to oust him. People are thinking it's got something to do with the latest Pfizer expose. But is it just, a third of your staff are disgruntled employees and they want O'Keefe gone? I don't know. So
Weird story. I did not expect to be talking about this today, and then it just kind of started breaking pretty quick. And
yeah, it's like, oh, he's on a paid leave, good for him, and he deserves a vacation for all the hard work. But then it's like, oh, well, maybe he's not coming back, and the board wants to get rid of him. So why is that? But if he's misusing funds, if he is a tyrant and he is problematic, if he's causing just as much harm internally as good as the exposés, then do you have to get rid of him? But then what is Project Veritas without him? It just wouldn't be the same. They wouldn't get the donations. I don't know. So that is very, very weird. So yeah, imagine starting your own company and then the company decides to get rid of you. I mean, things have happened before.
Tim Cook, Apple, right? Or Steve
No,
Jobs. Right?
I'm not sure about that, but I mean, what about like Twitter? Jack, I already forgot his name. It's been so long.
Yeah, Dorsey.
Dorsey, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, reservations at Dorsey. How did nitwit like you pull that off? Yeah, it's all very curious to me. So I mean, is there anything that James got wrong in that Pfizer story?
No, nothing like that, unless they were upset that some of the. I don't know what kind of Pfizer's got a lot of power, obviously, and with big tech and with the federal government. So is it somehow they're getting back at him? They don't want you covering stories, or it could be like WikiLeaks. They finally, like, it was doing so much damage, the WikiLeaks, and then finally they broke in, they got Assange, and now WikiLeaks is basically dead in the water. It hasn't really ever been the same. So is it going to be the same thing with Project Veritas? It's like, oh yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, James O'Keefe is gone, but it's going to be better than ever. But then like nothing ever happens, where it's just like really minor stuff that no one cares about. So can they go on without him?
I'm really weirded out by this story. It's really strange to me. So I'm curious to get some more information. He ate a pregnant lady's sandwich.
Well, I guess he was in court. It's a stupid story. I'd have to dig it up. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, he was in court. He was starving, and he grabbed some. Okay, so the memo, it details a series of bizarre events. So apparently, in September of 2022, it's a trial against a Democratic consulting firm. An employee complained that O'Keefe berated them in front of jurors because he needed something to eat. And ultimately, the employee alleged that O'Keefe just took a sandwich from a heavily pregnant woman to satiate his hunger. But again, it's from the Daily Beast, who are going to twist this, and especially this guy Will Sommer. He just makes his living just writing dirty hit pieces on people.
Okay, he took a sandwich. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if there's got to be more to it than that. But I mean, that's not enough to But if there's allegedly like maybe 16 or 20 employees that are writing a memo internally saying he's out of control. He's like, imagine if his boss had a huge ego trip and he was just constantly berating everybody all day.
Question.
Right.
Have you ever worked for a boss that doesn't have a huge ego and doesn't go on power trips? Like, that's why they're the boss.
Sometimes, I mean, in a smaller organization, you will run into that. In a bigger corporation, it's hard for that to happen, because I've worked on both sides. I worked in casinos for 15, 16 years. So, I've had union jobs, so not so much. But on a smaller level, if you're working on a small company, you can have big egotistical bosses. Absolutely. And they might, especially in this industry, when they make you sign NDAs and stuff, like Alex Jones, InfoWars, or Daily Wire, working for Steven Crowder. I mean, or Gavin McKenna. There's a lot of people that can kind of run their organizations their own way, and their ego kind of consumes them away for better or for worse. They still do fantastic work, but it wouldn't be easy to work for some of these people. But I don't know. I didn't think James O'Keefe was the type of person that would be a tyrant. But I've been surprised so many times before that it could very well be. So
I wonder if that sandwich that he took, was that a sub sandwich at 2 a.m. in the middle of a blizzard in Chicago?
No, but speaking of Subway, I do have a story in my stack that the Subway is going to they're going to get slicers now because they've been under fire for their mystery meats, because they're getting tuna sandwiches and there's like all kinds of different fish products I'll throw into it. It's not like real tuna. I don't know. It might vary by location, but that's on the.
So they're getting slicers to do the ham and the turkey and stuff?
Yeah, because people don't believe that it's like, real meat and stuff. So they want to see it. And, I've been to Subway, going on for a long time. I try to avoid it. There's still a go-to, when it's convenient. But I'm always a little suspicious about their meats, and I only eat like a couple of different things because I just know that there's something not quite right. They do cut corners and costs somewhere.
Well, Keith is wondering, wouldn't you think that story came out if he took a sandwich from a pregnant woman? But like,
Right.
Am I hearing anything fireable? Am I hearing of offenses that are just like, wow, what a tyrant. He took a sandwich. Like, that's a dumb move. You don't fire someone for a sandwich. Like, maybe I tend to side with the person getting axed.
Right.
Another thing I dislike about LeBron James when he talks about he's getting axed questions. Somebody made a joke about that because he was on doing the decision. They mocked when he said, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach." That was his whole cocky thing, like, we're not going to win one, we're going to win two, not three, not four. Like they're like, oh, we're going to win 20 championships in a row. He's like, yeah, axe D Wade, and there was somebody doing commentary. It's like, you didn't axe D Wade. You asked D Wade, you asshole. It's not axed, it's asked, you asshole. It was just like that always stuck with me. That was from like 2014, but that little comedy skit had always stuck with me. But yeah, I think we're gonna try to work LeBron James and Jussie Smollett into all of the stories today. So far we've been able to, with the help of Subway a little bit, I suppose. But yeah, I tend to usually side on the underdog here because I've been in that spot. I've been let go from positions in my life, as I'm sure we all have. And sometimes I have felt as though that wasn't a good decision. Not surprisingly, I had an opinion of myself and my performance that I felt should have been sufficient and should have been or exemplary. And so I hear stuff like this, and I tend to want to have an automatic knee-jerk reaction to defend someone like James O'Keefe. Now, you ran into him. I've never met him, I don't think. Yeah, you were there with him in the DNC. He was dressed in like jogging attire, and he was doing something for Hillary, right? Like he was doing
fake Hillary supporter trying to rile up Bernie supporters. Yes,
because there were no Hillary supporters. That was the joke he was getting at. There was nobody out there at that convention excited for Hillary. It was all the backdoor deals and the payoffs and the kickbacks that got all the delegates to just kind of back her, even though all the energy was for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a fun publicity stunt, and that was the beginning of Laura Loomer's turned into a star from running that publicity stunt, and he's helped a lot of people, come up. So people like her, and I know there's other people, alumni, I guess, of these organizations that have come up and worked together through the Breitbart channels and what have you. So I think of him as a good guy, but like, this hit piece is saying he's got outright cruel behavior towards his staff, people being publicly humiliated, what amounts to public crucifixions, taking lie detector tests.
Okay. I'm curious. What designates behavior as outright cruel? See, there's no explanation to that. That's just a slander with there's no
Right.
meat on those bones. That's just the
Right.
trash you'd expect from the Daily Beast. It's just pure trash.
Yeah. So it's anonymous staffers, and they're saying the current environment at Project Veritas is, the beatings will continue until morale improves. They're troubled and frustrated by his management style. Yeah, that's about it. So I don't know, Brian. I mean, you might think I've applied for Project Veritas once. I didn't go to the second level and get into the organization or anything like that. But imagine if you got a job in there, and then you're so pumped to do great work, and then you find out, like James O'Keefe, you got to sign all these NDAs and stuff because it's very hush hush, very secretive. But then what if he's just a total dick and he's just constantly giving you a hard time, like he's the big star and he's going to go do and interview this people, and you're just doing all the grunt work and getting overworked, underpaid, and then you can't handle it anymore. I don't know if it has anything to do if that's actually going on, but I've heard horror stories, or we've seen some of these other people that have issues, whether it's with tyrannical bosses and NDAs.
And look,
Happened.
you and I,
Yeah.
You and I have talked to several people who used to work with Alex Jones. And they have their stories to tell. Not media, but it was entertainment. I worked at the world's largest talent agency, and my cousin, she vividly recalls the day that I took a Saturday to go with them out to the beach over in Zuma Beach, up in Malibu, and I was a shell of myself. I was a wreck. That job was undoable. It was I was the second assistant. I had two ladies in this office, and they just, the type of people that kick their dogs. They keep dogs around just so they can kick them. I was the dog. I was not on the pecking order of what these two ladies. I was the second assistant with this. I won't name her.
Yeah.
Or the other one for that matter. But it was bad. It was bad. And people that knew me were like, you've got to leave this place. They are destroying you. And it's like a lot of people go work at places and they don't enjoy how it plays out. So, I mean, it's kind of natural that somebody like Keith would ask, if someone hates their job that much, why don't you just go find work somewhere else? And I know people that have recently taken new job opportunities and they left a super toxic situation behind, and now they're really happy in a place where they're respected. They don't constantly feel like the sword of Damocles is hanging over their head. It could drop at any moment, and it's just like the amount of stress, like that type of stress could just kill people. Like that amount of, but yeah, not every job is meant for everybody. Why aren't these people just going? Like that's a James O'Keefe. That's his company. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. If you don't like, Daily Wire, go somewhere else. If you don't like Crowder, go somewhere else. If you don't like Alex Jones, go somewhere else. Like if you don't like Fox, like I could do this all day. You get it, but
right. Unless you work for Crowder, then he's going to try to make sure you never get work in the industry ever again.
What was that?
Send his team of lawyers after you.
What was that? He did that to somebody?
Yeah, I think like Naki Jarrett, he's like preventing him from getting work or something. I mean, we don't know too much.
Usually you have to get paid. Usually, if you're gonna, the only way you can keep somebody quiet is if you pay them, and it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep you on payroll, and I just don't talk about what we went through here. If he's not on payroll, I don't think there's anything that can be said. But yeah, non-disclosures. I mean, that's kind of standard. You don't get most jobs without having to do that, and there's a reason people ask you to sign them so that it doesn't air dirty laundry after the fact and turn into corrosive.
Well, they use it to they can be a tyrant and do whatever they want to you, and if you say anything, they're going to make sure you never work in the industry again. Trust me, it's disgusting, but there's horror stories like that.
Trust me, that's exactly what Los Angeles was for the world's largest talent agency. I mean, they knew the power they had, and they wielded that power. And I got stories I can tell. But I also remember leaving a job, and I was offered a bit of severance. And I read through the paperwork, and it's like, oh, you won't discuss your employment here, any negative, blah blah blah. Just here's some severance. I'm like, you can keep your severance, you assholes. Keep it, because I'm going to tell the story about who you are and who you're not, and I'm not agreeing to not say anything. Now, I don't, for the most part. I don't really try to go publicly shame people that used to employ me, or that we used to be that I've had as clients that didn't work out. But if I ever want to, damn it, I will. I don't want to agree to keep my mouth shut forever and ever. Amen. No thanks. I felt like I was done dirty. I'm thinking of one particular spot where I looked at I don't know what they were offering, $1,000, $1,500, a couple $1,000, a few thousand, I don't know, whatever the severance was. I'm like, nah, my peace of mind to be able to tell you guys to go after yourselves, like, that's worth more to me than your severance. Take it. You know where you can put it. So I don't know. I digress. But like, look, this story is fascinating. But once again, like, I have a general annoyance, Blake. I see these crazy Democrats, these a lunatic fringe. The one thing that they have is a laser focus on who they want to destroy. Laser focus. If you're normal, if you're a decent person, if you believe in common sense and respect and dignity, and water being wet, in this direction being up and that direction being down, well, you must be destroyed, because 2 + 2 = 5. You will take a knee, like Colin Kaepernick. You will take your knee, submit to us, and like in George Orwell, you will say 2 + 2 = 5. But it's not so much that you say it. I need you to believe it. You must believe it. So say it and believe it, or else it doesn't count. They always, Blake, they keep laser focused on their enemies of truth, reality, common sense, mathematics, physics, biology. Like, these people are nuts on every level. Not every Democrat, but the ones that are kind of running the shots, calling the shots, running the show, and pushing the most ridiculous of the things you'll ever hear these people say. They're focused, man. They are focused on the enemy. This is why I've been begging Ron DeSantis not to run for president. You join Trump's vice president. You're the only person that could unite the party at this point. And you're the person that could absolutely push the pin to destroy the party. So it's all in DeSantis' hands. If he unites it, but I want the focus. This is Trump gets a redo. There's too many people that don't buy into how things played out. They didn't like what they saw. They want to run it back. They want to run it back and try it one more time. This is Trump's turn. Don't jump in there. This is not a time to do that. Steven Crowder, Daily Wire. Okay, well, these are conservative outlets. These are right-leaning. These are libertarian. These are conservative, Republican. Like, however you want to paint it, they should be focused on their enemies. The enemies of truth, logic, reason, common sense, decency, all that. But they're infighting and bickering with each other like it's 7th grade gym class. Like, they're just bickering over bullshit while the country's burning. Like, I don't like all of this nonsense. And it's like these right-leaning sites, I can't stand the division, the backbiting, just all of the interpersonal drama. It's detrimental to the cause, Blake. And yet again, the Republicans are the right, the conservatives, the libertarian. I don't even know what you call them, the anti-Democrats. We'll just call them anti-Democrats. The anti-Democrats are taking their eye off the ball every chance they get. They're the most distracted group of people I have ever seen per capita. It is so easy to stay focused on the enemy, and they keep getting lost in the weeds, man. Am I wrong to be so harsh on the movement?
No, well, it's very divided. There's the old GOP under the Bush regime, into the McCain thing, and then it was Tea Party, and then the rise of the libertarians. and it's evolved. And then it became the Trump and the MAGA movement. So there's a lot of different factions of the Republicans, if you will, of the conservative movement, and somebody like me gets lumped in there. I'm more of like a classic liberal, but I have way more in common with the conservatives than I do with the radical Democrats. So
I think Dave Rubin says that. A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
Most of the people, Bill Burr, Bill Maher, anybody named Bill, unless it's Clinton. But like a lot of these people, they're like, I'm classical libertarian. I'm classical liberal. The so-called liberal party of the Democrat, they're the most fascist group of people out there. Everything's about we have to pin people. We have to label them with a scarlet letter and yell witch at them and throw them down a well. If you don't completely conform with all of our bullshit, you will be excommunicated to wander the desert alone. And it's like that's the least liberal thing in the world. Like that party co-opting that word, it's like it doesn't even remotely. There's a lot of smart people that find themselves, and we say liberal, classical liberal. It's really just kind of libertarian. Like everybody do what you feel like doing as long as it's not harming somebody else. And I know that like there are times when you glitch the matrix. It's like, well, like abortion, right? As long as you're not harming somebody else. They're like, yep, because it's just a clump of cells. You go, no, that's a life. No, it's a clump of cells. No, you conceived another life, therefore you can't kill it, just like you can't kill your neighbor. And like there are some of these stories, these situations where I understand logically how we've hit an impasse. Like there, you cannot talk. We're just talking past each other because we can't really even agree on the premise. But for the most part, if you're choosing to live your life and you're not harming somebody else, that's classical liberal. That's libertarian. That's what conservatism is supposed to be. Conservatives, the right, have really been kind of knocked for pushing their religion onto other people. And it's like, well, just because your book says that we should act a certain way, I don't know. I don't read your book. I don't care about your book. So you should therefore let me do what I'm doing and stay out of my face. And if you have a problem with that, then I got a problem with you. And the conservatives, rightfully so, have taken some of that criticism. But yeah, in today's day and age, when you got spy balloons going over the country, invading our airspace, and nobody does anything about it, you got hundreds of thousands of people just invading. It's an invasion of the southern border. And nobody's doing anything about it. $31 trillion, and we're money laundering in Ukraine, trying to start a nuclear war with Russia. All right, look, can we stop fucking fighting with each other for just a little bit and focus on fixing the things that need fixed? Or no. We're going to... James O'Keefe, he was mean to me once, and he took a sandwich. Right. All right, so burn it down. Yep, burn it down. Yep, there you go. Oh, well, Steven Crowder was offered money, but it wasn't Rogan-type money, and he thought he earned it. So, all right, now it's just going to be a constant soap opera of Daily Wire, Steven
Crowder did that to himself, man. He set this whole thing up, and he miscalculated, and all blew up in his face.
Well, it's like I said. I mean, it's not just there with the Daily Wire. It's also it's Nicole Arbor. It's Candace Owens. There's a lot of beefs going on. I get it, but I'm just saying it seems like it would be so much more effective if the focus could remain where it needs to be. All this stuff is diversionary tactics. They're taking the bait. They're getting knocked off their mission, and it's just sad to see. It's sad to see. Maybe O'Keefe does need to go.
Yeah, we can't get on the same page. We're not like the Democrats, so they're all in lockstep on their agenda. But that's not going to happen. There's too many egos and independent thinkers in the libertarian freedom movement, patriot movement, unfortunately. So that's just the way it's going to be. Now we got to find out who's who and who we're going to get behind. But there is no team here. It's never been like that. I don't think we've never really been included in any of that stuff. So we're easy to dismiss because we're small enough, but we've been doing this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean I mean we've ended up mixed up in a few things, that's for sure. But like that comes and goes. That's par for the course. But
Yeah,
It's
but
just,
not like they're inviting us in to also be the voice. Because if we could have gotten all the patriots together, we should easily be able to just smash the liberal media, cut through all the lies, and save the country, right? But
yeah, I mean,
we're not able to.
they've been straight up bald faced lying. Bold faced or bald faced, Blake? Is it bold or bald?
I think you can use both. Like, I think I've looked it up once, and you
What
can use
about build?
no.
What about bold? BULD.
I haven't seen that, but I'll
Biled? BYLD? Biled?
build be with
Build?
it. Yeah, I don't know.
We could
Yeah.
build back better with a Y. Yeah, yeah. They're
What
just
can we
lying.
do?
They're just lying. I don't like being lied to. I don't like. I don't like it. I get that there's an occasional instance where for national security we might need to whatever, but like, if you want to drag our young men and women off to war, and if you want to risk this and that, and if you want to run up a credit card tab of $31 trillion while you're worried about $600 Venmo transactions, we need to press pause. We need to focus on the problem here, and all this stuff is taking us off task. So,
All
hey,
right,
I'm fascinated
let's
by the
switch
story.
gears. Okay, maybe we could use that to segue. Speaking of getting us into war, like the Nord Stream pipelines were sabotaged, and it's been revealed by a longtime investigative reporter, a real well, like James O'Keefe, but Seymour Hersh, who's been around for a long time, exposing corruption and different things that this kind of stories people don't want out there. And so he's saying that it's clear that the Nord Stream pipelines were sabotaged. It was probably laid mines or bombs a few months ago, and then they detonated them at the right time. And it seems like as the U.S. is having this proxy war with Ukraine against Russia.
The U.S. likely didn't sabotage the Nord Stream pipeline. Agree or disagree? You would probably say you would
Uh,
disagree that the U.S. likely didn't sabotage the Nord Stream pipeline. You would
sure.
disagree with that.
I guess is that a double negative? I don't know. Getting lost, but
Well, it's not an undouble negative.
all right. Well, it's confusing. Did the U.S. Sabotage the Nord Stream pipelines to keep pushing their war against Russia using
Yeah, I mean,
Ukraine and
look,
NATO?
they've been bragging about it. It's
Yeah.
nothing. It's nothing to think about. I mean, was it Victoria Nuland? Was she the
Yeah.
one?
Oh yes. Let me pull that up. Here's a. I got a few to show
And
you.
what's her title again? What's her position?
I forget. She's high up, deep state. I don't remember if she's with State Department or what she's
Hmm.
with anymore. But she's been a high level neocon. So maybe kind of like John Bolton in a way. Says she's very pleased that the Nord Stream 2 is a hunk of metal at the bottom of the sea. And when will the European people wake up and realize that the U.S. is their enemy, not Russia? Yeah, so it's these saboteurs. You've got Seymour Hersh. He broke the Milo massacre story in '69, bombing of Cambodia. He's been exposing Bin Laden, Syria, Hillary. He is one of the last great investigative journalists. They don't do that anymore. And he's this is one of his latest reports here. So it was an exercise. It was a U.S. Navy's diving and salvage center, and yeah, they blew this thing up. They want to keep the war going, and they tried to blame it on Russia. So it never really stuck. They could never prove it, and maybe that's timeful to reevaluate why we are over there. And of course, we have over $100 billion already that we've sent in aid. Not sure how that's being spent.
10% for the big guy.
Plus all the weapons.
10% for the big guy.
Yeah, 10% for the big guy. Yeah, there's a lot of corruption there in the bio labs and all manner of things, and yet we just keep giving them a blank check. It's okay. There's talk about Zelensky war crimes and using chemical weapons on Russian soldiers. Like it's getting pretty nasty over there. So not that I'm pro Russia or anything. I just think that we shouldn't be meddling around in there. And I think we've kind of crossed the line, violated our agreements, and Putin has invaded. He's not liking what they're doing to the eastern regions, the Donbass, and all that. So he's trying. It's kind of a humanitarian mission of sorts, but it's very complicated, and I don't want to be picking sides. But it seems like this has been a bad deal all around, and it's time to.
You got to keep in mind though that the appropriate context here. Hillary and the DNC and the lying propaganda leftist media, they told you that it was Russian bots, right? It was Russian trolls and Russian bots and Russian disinformation campaigns that got Donald Trump elected, right? They called him, excuse me, they called him an illegitimate president because Putin got him elected.
Yep.
And they didn't stop telling this lie for 3 years. They didn't stop. At first I was like, oh, that's cute. Oh, bless. Oh, sweetheart. Just keep going. You're so silly. And they wouldn't stop. I'm like, okay, this is getting really weird. Like this isn't grounded in reality. And they didn't stop. And they kept going and going. They impeached him. They impeached President Trump. What did they say? How did this work out, Blake? What's the easiest way to describe? So the DNC is pushed by Hillary to through Fusion GPS to create a fake dossier about Trump being peed on by a hooker in Russia.
Yeah.
And they use this to spy on his campaign, and then they impeach him because they made up a blatantly fake story.
Oh, it's genius. Russia? Yeah, no, that's the DC swamp. No, they're brilliant strategy.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
No, it's not, because it worked. And they used that reason to get and then they used the whole threat of Russia colluding with everything to get all of their goons, infiltrating into big tech and working with them, and to demonize all of their opposition as, being, Russian sympathizers or whatever, and shutting down accounts or shadow banning, boosting, whatever.
The deep state has been trying to pin the tail onto Russia for a long time.
Yeah.
With fake stories. I suppose I'm just a bit of a believer in if you want to go to war, get the congressional approval for it. Like when was it ever brought up? Like, hey, we're gonna start sending tanks and blowing up infrastructure to potentially provoke a world war with a nuclear power. Where was that voted on? Like it
doesn't matter anymore. I know these
that much unilateral authority to do that without congressional approval. I don't. What did I miss, Blake? Like, he shouldn't be able to do any of the stuff that he's doing. Him. Right. I mean, it's Obama's people pulling the strings. It's Biden doesn't know what time of day it is if he gets applesauce or cottage cheese today for his snacky poo.
Ooh, good. Yeah.
I know. It's getting close to dinner time. Blake's like, oh, well, that sounds good.
I like applesauce and cottage cheese.
I know. Well, the pro tip is to put either some pineapple or some peaches in with that cottage cheese.
Ugh, no.
Oh, what? You're missing out.
No, I put it on a spinach salad with Greek vinaigrette, some cucumbers. There you go.
You put cottage cheese on salads?
Huh?
You put cottage cheese on salads?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I've ever done that.
Well, they serve it at salad bars, don't they? I didn't think it was that unusual.
Yeah, but not for on the salad. It's like a dollop on the side.
Throw it right on top. I don't know. A little fresh pepper, sliced cucumber. Like I said, Greek vinaigrette, spinach, good stuff.
It's very refreshing. But I mean, they've been trying to fake a war with Russia for a long time. They've impeached Trump twice, like these Russia games and this nonsense. I just if we're going to go to war, make your case and prove it to the people, and it hasn't happened, and they just keep pushing. They overthrew Ukraine. Trump and Biden and Obama overthrew them in what, 2014, 16?
I think it's 2014, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, they've been poking the Russian bear for a long time, and so people are confused. But it's really, it wasn't like an unprovoked attack by Putin. Like they've really been meddling around in there on his borders and threatening his security for a long time. And so finally, Putin just had enough, and he doesn't take the West. The West is not a good player. They're not a good faith actor in this. So there's no reason to do business. So he just said, "Hey, I'm coming in. Leave the eastern part of Ukraine alone. Put somebody else in. Create some new countries." Yeah, I mean they've made him play his hand, unfortunately. So, but now they keep dumping money in there, and they want to take out Russia or what have you. But they're a formidable opponent, so it's not a good idea, and it's going to end
no.
in the cause the destruction of the entire planet if we get into a world war with Russia, because Putin ain't going to play.
Perfect.
Yeah.
May we
But
live
we
in
did it to ourselves again.
I
So
know. Blowback. Ron Paul begged us about blowback. He warned us, begged us to stop doing what we're doing. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the next topic. I think we can pretty much disagree that the U.S. likely did not sabotage the Nord Stream pipeline. We're going to disagree
right.
because they're bragging about it openly, transparent, just like how Biden, similarly to how Biden was bragging about quid pro quo Joe was bragging about firing the investigator into Hunter's money laundering schemes. They're not going to get their kickbacks unless you drop the investigation into my son. It's blatantly obvious. Everybody sees it. We're all just waiting for some sort of semblance of justice. So anyway, yeah, I think we can just disagree with that. On to the next story. All right. So social media just suffered a cyber attack? Question mark. Do you agree or disagree with that? Did social media just suffer a cyber attack?
I gotta disagree, but
okay.
you could certainly make the argument. I'm trying to think if there's any other way to put it. So maybe I would have to agree. I'm torn on that one.
Do you have a story pulled up to kind of walk us through the basics?
Well, I know that there was a lot of chatter about this. I don't have a whole lot particularly on that. Let's see if I can pull this one up here. It's from Natalie Dental. She's a Ron Paul lady. She worked for him, I believe. Said, "Is this a cyber attack?" And I had some more articles, but there was problems yesterday. I had problems with Twitter. One time I pulled Instagram and it was not available, and I know Facebook down. So it seemed like there was. How are all of these unrelated? I mean, Facebook and Instagram are part of the Meta, but Twitter was also have issues. I'm not sure if it applies to some of the other ones like Truth Social or what else is there, Minds or Gab or anything like that. But I thought it was very unusual for that some of the biggest platforms all down. Does it have something to do with the balloon from China, or maybe something else, or was there a cyber attack?
I didn't really experience the same problems, but to be fair, I've also been kicked off of Facebook because they accused me of adult sexual exploitation. I just want to say that every chance I get. I've never been accused of something so sinister. That's pretty neat. Pretty hilarious. I think I want to make T-shirts.
Yeah.
I might make. You know what? I might make a batch of TNAM T-shirts that we support adult sexual exploitation, and put a picture of the meme that got me banned. It was Hunter Biden and his tidy whities standing there.
Yep.
I think with his glasses and a scarf.
Aviator thing, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't share a single image of anybody naked. Nobody's junk was hanging out. Nobody's bits. Nobody's kibbles and bits. None of their cherries. None of their peaches. None of the nothing. Just some dork, some crackhead, deviant, scoundrel, scalawag, traitorous, nitwit. By the way, the smartest person that Joe Biden knows. But yeah, I might make T-shirts with that meme. And maybe say proudly supporting adult sexual exploitation since 2011.
There you go.
I've never been able to say that I've never been accused of adult sexual exploitation before. I think it's hilarious since he's the guy that pays all the hookers. He's getting hookers knocked up and, cheating on his girlfriend or his wife, and then he's getting with his dead brother's wife, and then he's cheating on her with hookers, having babies with hookers and videos with hookers, and he's the sexual exploiter. Biden and the Ashley diary and all the sniffing and the touching and the groping and the creepiness, like all that family is all just vile. I don't care that he has like one of those smiles that looks, no, it's not a smile, it's vile. That's a demon in a human costume. That whole family is gross. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent, but I just really dislike them. And for all the Me Too crap that they gave Trump, these women are so into me that you can just grab them. Okay, yeah, you can grab them. Like, that was one thing said. I know Trump's a bit of a pig, sure. I'll grant you that, especially when he's going on. He's an entertainer, and when you're hanging out with Howard Stern, you let your guard down a little bit. But he's a comedian. I think Trump's a comedian more so than anything else. Like, he's an accidental politician. He's more so a comedian, just trying to get some laughs. But yeah, where'd that Me Too movement go with Ashley Biden, with Joe Biden, with Hunter Biden? Why aren't they attacking them? Like, just giving them a free pass? Like, that's how these movements are just total political bullshit hit jobs. Not a hit job. Not like Ilhan Omar. We're talking about hit jobs. These movements, they're just crap. They're just bludgeon. They're weapons that the deep state can use to bludgeon non-globalists with. If you're not playing ball, you will be destroyed. It's just the hypocrisy is absolutely insane. So cyber media. What I was getting at. Sorry, that was a whole detour to say. I was kicked off of Facebook for a few days. I just got back on recently, like a day ago. So I don't know. I didn't notice anything on Facebook, but I was on Twitter. Twitter was working fine for me, but I know other people were experiencing issues. So it didn't impact me. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. It's like if there's an earthquake.
People were hitting their limits. They're trying to tweet stuff out, and it says, "Oh, you've reached your limit." And I was trying to follow people, and it would say, "No, you can't follow this person anymore," or just there was some kind of a glitch. But so it wasn't just
there's something going on where Dave Rubin went with Elon Musk, and they were discussing like some of the glitches that they found in their system, and kind of going through. Yeah, I guess there's bugs on top of bugs on top of bugs on top of bugs inside of their system. I mean, at some point, you really just have to delete the whole damn thing.
Yeah, but they're all done at the same time, right? So could it have been a cyber attack? That's a logical explanation, right? Because you could have problems at Twitter, you can have problems at Meta, but for both of them to have issues at the same time, after we had the Chinese weather balloon, not saying that had anything to do with it, but as a detective, does that make sense?
Journalists are we are detectives.
Yeah.
And we know when we're being lied to. Yeah, Keith is saying he thinks Twitter was targeted. Yeah, see, when I got kicked off Facebook, I put more energy into Twitter because I had to. I don't prefer Twitter, but at least that's a place where I can speak freely. I don't feel like I can speak freely on Google, YouTube. I can't speak freely on Facebook, Meta, Instagram. But on Twitter, it's like, all right, cool. We're back to the Wild West. That sounds pretty good. Miss Sedona is saying
MJ Sedona,
saying she got kicked off Facebook for telling a story about COVID from CNN. Yeah, it's all so stupid. It's all so stupid. Like, I'm not a child, and I will not be addressed as such. You bastards that are silencing me, that are shutting me, that are giving me a demerit, putting me in detention, making me stay after school. Piss off. No. I'm over it, Blake.
Well, it was nice seeing him get yelled at on Capitol Hill yesterday.
Well, and it's going on today as well, isn't it? Is it continuing, or am I just seeing this from yesterday? Because that's completely related. Do you have any? Do you have an article about that? Because I was watching a few clips, and what's taken? I guess because the Democrats were in charge, and that's their main mouthpiece. That's why they wouldn't investigate them. Of course, it's like they say when there's a cop shooting and it's questionable. They say, "Oh, well, we've investigated ourselves and determined that we did nothing wrong." And you're like, "Well, yeah, that's how."
Right.
It's like it's like the Ashley Babbitt story. Like, okay, well, we investigated ourselves, and the officer that shot the only bullet on January 6th, killing somebody in cold blood, who was unarmed, a veteran mother of a different race, mind you. All key components to the story, as I was told by the media for umpteenth years. Yeah, that was all just swept under the rug because they were in charge. So I guess that's the reason why we haven't heard social media getting up on the hill, because they didn't control the House. Thank God the Republicans do.
Well, speaking of that, and I forgot to mention that on the social media, Josh Hawley has proposed a legal minimum age for youth to use social media. And he's actually put it minimum age of 16 for users. So I don't know what you agree or disagree. A minimum age to use Meta, Facebook, TikTok, maybe especially. They've been going at that one. I don't know if they're going to eliminate that or not. But yeah, well, I also liked how Elon says, the woke Stasi felt the heat today. All the people that used to work for his company getting lectured yesterday, but they completely deserved it. They were up to no good. It was interesting. Also, here's a response to his tweet the other day from Bry Moore, saying he recently went to the Stasi Museum in Berlin, found it interesting that they called themselves anti-fascist at the beginning. Isn't that interesting? It's like how the Antifa thinks that they're doing the good work, but they're actually themselves, ironically. So,
Mm-hmm.
you want to unpack anything? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, should there be age limits? I mean, some of that has to be parentally, but parents can't be everywhere, especially if you give a kid a phone, and who knows what they're doing in the school. You can't trust the schools. You've seen the curriculum they're shoving down these poor kids' throats, and all the. It's just so sad. Yeah, age limits. But yeah, there's anti-fascist. Like, they are fascist. Like, they're literally naming that, just like how they project everything that they are into other people. That's what they're doing here.
Yeah, they're very good at it.
A nice name, a fun name, but then you go out and act the exact opposite. They are the fascists. And yeah, Miss MJ Sedona was saying that a comment I made earlier about Trump being a comedian. Yeah, I think Trump is a stand-up comedian at heart. I mean, he's a businessman, obviously, real estate development, casinos, hotels. There's a lot of things he has been. But yeah, he's a comedian. You always have to view President Trump in terms of being a comedian, because he's always looking for a joke. He's always cracking jokes. When Megyn Kelly got him on stage and was like, Mr. President Trump, you've been accused of saying really misogynistic things about women, but what's your take? Only Rosie O'Donnell. It blew the roof off the place. And Blake, you weren't there with me when I met Rosie, were you? Or were you?
I was not.
It blew. That's too bad, because it was awesome. She hated me. Oh, did she hate me? No reason. She's just a vile. Sometimes if you get around demons, you get like a weird reaction. They can sense your energy. Oh, she was repulsed by me. She hated me, and I wear that like a badge of honor. That was one of the most awesome interactions I've ever had with somebody, because she sucks. She's such a vile person. But yeah, Trump is a comedian, and yes, he's been a politician that left a 4-year track record of what you're going to get, and I feel like the world was a better place when he was president. Absolutely. That I didn't mean that as a knock on Trump. I hope you understand that. It's just we need to remember context. Context is important. So, yeah.
And Ghost Pickers there, I can't see any of the comments though. I have to go. They're on my Blake Wally channel, but that's odd.
Wait, I don't see Ghost Picker. Where's Ghost Picker? I don't see any of those comments either.
Yeah, it's only on the YouTube channel of Blake Wally. I'm not sure. Interesting.
How does that work? Anyway, okay. Well, I guess
Ghost Picker, yes, and MJ Sedona. Good to see everybody.
anything else to add on this social media cyber attack?
Nope.
Them getting grilled on Capitol Hill.
Not for now. I can't. I don't feel comfortable running the clips, but we've seen a few, so that was definitely interesting, and for them to get called out, and they know what they did, and it's just good that Elon bought out the company, and we got to see what was really going on, what we long suspected, and having it confirmed and getting vindicated. So
Where are
that's
the
good.
Fauci files?
I don't know. Still waiting on that, and I'm still waiting on the release to find out like what's in everybody's file, because I would love to see what internal dialogue they've had, like say on my account or something. I don't know. Like they must like little notes, like shadow ban this asshole. I don't know. This guy is creating. So I don't know. I don't know how all of it works internally, but I think we have a right to know what's been going on. Perhaps. It's certainly I feel like I've been, shadow banned into oblivion over the last 6 or 7 years. It kind of loosened up a little, but now it seems to be it's regressing again, and I'm getting very little. I'm not circulating that much unless I use hashtags. So I don't know if there's still things. People were like locking their accounts so that they'd be seen more. They're still, working on the algorithms.
That was.
I've been having trouble with my reach. My reach is like really shrunk again. I don't know why. Am I just getting boring, or is it not being shown out there? Are people not able to see it? Is there still the way that they're deboosting things? I don't know. So still working on it, but yeah, perhaps I just need to tweet a lot more, and that will help me in the algorithms.
Yeah, the locking accounts thing, that was one of the things that Dave Rubin was talking about. They're like, okay, so if you lock your account, your reach expands, blah, 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 but then this happens, and I don't know. I think they put too many bugs in the code. Like, I think they just need to get rid of all the code and reboot it. I think they need to put their own code in. I think it's layers upon layers of deep state surveillance, bullshit propaganda, all the tools to censor and shadow ban and what have you. So, all right, cool. Well, yeah, it's been. You said you're not comfortable playing the clips because of your internet speed, or because you don't.
No, they're time consuming. I don't have them laid out. I don't know if they're going to play well over the speakers, so I'd rather work out at another time. But yeah, they're definitely can be easily found on Twitter. So people should go check that out. So there was definitely some highlights. Absolutely. So
gotcha.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, let's continue on to the next one.
Watching time.
All right, as we speed up here's another story that kind of it's developing. Now we're kind of speeding up. We have
it's time for a little rapid fire
black hole here. Yeah, so we're going into Blake's takes. Everything's kind of speeding up on the space-time continuum. But Senator John Fetterman, how in the world did Pennsylvania put this guy in? I don't even. For the life of me, Blake, I just don't get it. Anyway, John Fetterman, Democrat, Pennsylvania, who suffered a stroke during his campaign last year, was hospitalized yesterday night after feeling lightheaded while attending a Senate Democratic retreat. So John Fetterman is fit to serve in office. Do you agree or disagree, Blake?
Disagree. No, he's a mess. No, he's had the stroke. I don't know what he was like before then. He's a radical leftist, and has a lot of issues, speaking and doing basic things, and he needs a lot of assistance. He's got serious medical issues. He's never fully released his records, because I know that people would not vote for him, but they still did anyway, even though they can see him, and he's clearly having issues. So he's a puppet. He's just, they say he's the rubber stamp for the Biden administration. He's not going to, push back. He's going to do exactly what he's told. I'm sure he's very grateful to have gotten such a prominent position for somebody who probably doesn't deserve to be there. Yeah, it's sad for the great state of Pennsylvania. That's the best they could do is Fetterman versus Dr. Oz, and they were both just not likable candidates, but somehow Fetterman, they pushed him over the finish line, and yeah, he's barely gotten into office, and he's already hospitalized. So,
I
Not
don't
good.
know how Biden is continuing either. No, I don't think Fetterman. I disagree. Fetterman is unfit to serve in office, and yeah, yeah, good lord. So then what? What would happen if he can't serve? Do they give it like a deputy? Do you just pick your replacement, or do you have to have a revote? Or you pick the person with the second most votes? What happens if somebody can't serve? I don't recall.
I don't know because they got seem like they have like people that do this. So they're like 89 years old, just got another 6-year term, but then they only do a few years and then they step down and then somebody else takes their spot, like presumably in the same party. So I don't. It's
Yeah,
weird how they run these, but
yeah, you just kind of wonder. Could it possibly be worse? The devil you know versus the devil you don't. I don't know. So we'll see. It's just a developing story. Fetterman's falling apart and nobody's surprised. All right.
yep, right out of the gate.
Right out the gate. Next story.
Ooh.
The catastrophe in Turkey is signaling the end of days, Blake. Do you agree or disagree that the catastrophe in Turkey might be signaling the end of days?
I'm going to agree with just the
Oh,
weirdness going on. Yeah, I've been getting into the catastrophism stuff, unfortunately, and it's changing my perspective on things.
what's
I
the
don't know,
what's the
Brent,
word catastrophism? What did you say?
there's some longer word. Maybe I'm misusing that, but
I don't
I
know.
think I think it's
I'm
just
not calling you
catastrophism,
out saying it's wrong. I'm not
right?
familiar with the phrase.
I think it is. It was catastrophic, but I think like the science of catastrophism.
Catastrophes.
All right. So I don't know if you followed. There's a great series on Netflix that just came out a few months ago by Graham Hancock. It's the Ancient Apocalypse. It's outstanding. I just watched the whole thing, and I'm gonna rewatch it. And I also have been a longtime follower of Ben Davidson on Suspicious Observers, and him and another several other people are into this idea that the Earth is going through, and the whole solar system, including the sun, everything, are going through major changes magnetically. The poles are shifting, and we've got evidence in the ancient past of maybe every 12,000 years we go through some sort of magnetic excursion. Yes, and then we have the end of days. Right. So Brian,
He goes, "What the f is this?" End of days.
yep, it's the end of days. And Brian, did you see the here? I got to do the share screen because you got to see a few things. And I think MJ Sedona is, yes, exactly, saying about the red spiral cloud that was just there a couple weeks ago. Brian, did you see this cloud? Have you seen this picture? Are you looking at the screen?
I mean,
The massive lenticular cloud
it
resembling a
looks a little bit
UFO.
like. I mean, it looks. I mean, a
Yeah,
little
we
like
know what it looks like. Yep.
like what?
Like a Yeah, I'm not going to go there,
It
but
looks like anatomy.
it does. It
It looks like
certainly does.
they vaguely resemble lady parts,
Okay, there you go. Exactly.
lady bits.
So, or a UFO or whatever, it was spotted over the city of Bursa on Turkey on Thursday, surprising citizens. A rare phenomenon. The almost circular cloud, which appeared at sunrise, featured a large hole in the middle, remained intact for about an hour. And this was on Friday, January 20th. And then, let's see, actually, I've got let's see if I can find this Telegram post. And I did find it on the Mike Barra channel. Let's pull this up if I can zoom in. So here's where this was where the cloud was. And I guess it was right over the region where they had this massive, I think it's a 7.8 magnitude earthquake that was there. And of course, almost 20,000. Let's see. Death toll climbs past 19,300. Almost 20,000 people have died from this earthquake, which affected southern Turkey and into Syria. Just ravaged all these apartment buildings. Horrible tragedy. And it was interesting. People were predicting this. There's like a new scientific discoveries, cycles, solar cycles that that they were saying this region is due for a quake. So now that we're discovering more about the how the universe works, Harper CERN has another good possibilities. I don't know. So, but it seems like there's some major activity happening. And yeah, the culture's going to hell, financial system's going to hell, political system's going to hell. Sam Smith and the Grammys going to hell. Well, Brian, is it the end of days?
Our border is going to hell.
Yep, the country's going to
still
hell.
attacking our rights, our Second Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights.
Could have nuclear war with Ukraine, Russia. There's a lot of issues going on. We've had the State of the Union, which with the puppet president, a lot of false promises and BS again. So, are we due? Is it time to just flood the Earth again? So I don't know if we're going to get like a magnetic excursion or what have you, a polar shift, flip, magnetic field weakening. You're seeing the planets getting affected. There was some weird solar flares on the sun the other day. So, even like Jupiter, like the red spot, like the Neptune's having like the winds are shifting the other way. Like there's a lot of weird solar activity. And the fear is that within the next, 20 years, we could have something similar happen to Earth where we get jostled around. And I highly recommend Ancient Apocalypse. You got to watch that. All of the ancient.
It's on Netflix, you said?
Yeah, Netflix. And there's ancient structures all over the Earth. It's not just, the pyramids and Machu Picchu and Stonehenge. And there's places in Turkey. There's places in the United States, Ohio, the Serpent Mounds. There's weird things all over the world where people were building these structures and they're all aligned at certain star systems or what have you, showing evidence that we had advanced civilizations on the Earth 12,000 years ago and that there was a major problem, major catastrophe, cataclysm.
Actually, here's a good question. Let me see if I can find this. Let me see if I can locate this. I guess I could. Let's see if it comes up.
Screen share. But do you follow Suspicious Observers? Do you follow Ben Davidson?
I'm not familiar.
Oh, well, you should definitely do that. He's always the good morning. Good morning. He's always eyes open, no fear.
Here, let me.
Does it ring a bell? Does it ring a bell? Wow. Okay. We'll have to show you.
I mean, I could show this because it's my work.
Are you trying to put in the? I know the right, the Tool song.
Yeah. So a couple of lyrics from this Tool song. Click the link and watch the video. But from Emma.
So I thought it was on private.
What's that?
I thought your video was on private because of potential copyright infringement or whatever.
Nah, it's
video
up.
clips.
It looks like it's had some views recently. It's funny because, I mean, it's not funny, but like you put videos up and then they do nothing for like years, and then they it's so shadow banned and like it's such bullshit. You and I we type interesting things, we make good points on Twitter, we post it. Zero interactions, no retweets, no engagement. It's like, well, we have people following us. Why would people have not noticed that? And that was a good one. And it's like after 1,000 good ones, you go, well, why am I wasting my time on this crap? And yeah, I've had several videos that have landed very quietly when it's like, no, this could have got a lot of views. I know it could have. But in the song Anima, he says, some say the end is near. Some say we'll see Armageddon soon. I certainly hope we will. I sure could use a vacation from this bullshit three-ring circus sideshow. Excuse me. Of freaks here in this hopeless fucking hole we call LA. The only way to fix it is to flush all away. Any fucking time, any fucking day. Learn to swim. I'll see you down in Arizona Bay. Skip to the bottom here. It says, some say a comet will fall from the sky, followed by meteor showers and tidal waves, followed by fault lines that cannot sit still, followed by millions of dumbfounded dipshits. I mean, it's essentially then learn to swim. Learn to swim, because I'm praying for rain. I'm praying for tidal waves. I want to see the ground give way. I want to watch it all go down. Mom, please flush it all away. I want to see it go right in and down. I want to watch it go right in, watch you flush it all away. Yeah, time to bring it down again. Don't just call me a pessimist. Try and read between the lines. I can't imagine why you wouldn't welcome any change, my friend. I want to see it come down, pull it down, suck it down, flush it down. And so I made a visual representation to this video that I put in the link. Check that. It's right there. It says host, and then it says YouTube / blah, 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 blah. Check it out. It's a pretty good one. But I made it during the Bush administration. So, I mean, this is pretty old at this point. But we had a lot of the actors and the actresses, very political. But, yeah, I mean, look, I love the Ancient Aliens series. I loved everything about that. Was the first show that really put things into perspective for me. It really had me thinking like, oh, now everything makes sense. That actually explains a whole bunch of unanswered questions I had. Like, we are the aliens here. There are forces that are at play and they're not always seen, but you know, we're the ants in this terrarium. You know, I just kind of get that vibe. So yeah, I'm fascinated by the topic, Blake, and you know, going to the Conscious Life Expo, as I know you have with me. You know, a lot of that stuff, and a lot of the 2012. I was fascinated with the whole 2012 rhetoric and the possibility that, like, hey, all right, this is the time they're going to hit Control Alt Delete on this project here. You know, it's not like we're doing ourselves any favors with how we're handling things. So. Yeah, I mean, was Turkey, like, were they up to something? Why would Turkey be targeted? Was it the U.S. or what's that?
I don't think so. And as a scientist I was following on Twitter, because he was warning people that there's going to be a 7.5 quake or more in this region, and of course directing me to another YouTuber who also made that same prediction. And it's also, you know, Ben Davidson of the Suspicious Observers, who follows these things, and sometimes solar activity and the flares and how close can affect change here on the Earth. So there is a science to it. I'm not saying it was just like an act of God or anything, but yeah, you follow the Suspicious Observers, or the ancient apocalypse thing. It appears to be a cycle that happens around every 12,000 years or so, and that the whole solar system undergoes these changes. So we could be due for another one of these cataclysms. It's approaching. That may be what happened to the end of Atlantis, because there were all of these great structures that were built that with technology that shouldn't have existed. So how did people build the pyramids in Machu Picchu and Angkor Wat, and was it Cambodia, Stonehenge, Serpent Mounds? I mean, you go, they're all over the place. And there's a big one in Turkey. I forget what, I don't want to mispronounce the name, but one of the most ancient ones of all. And so they built these.
Mispronounce the Turkey one. I know the correct pronunciation because I know it's Machu Picchu.
Teleki Pepe or something weird like that.
What is it?
Teleki Pepe? I don't know. What is the name?
I got it.
What is it?
Göbekli Tepe.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, you wanted me to.
It's Machu Picchu, not Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu and Göbekli Tepe.
Thank you, Brian, for correcting the record.
No, I just like playing trivia. No, I mean, there was that one time we were at the Conscious Life Expo, my brother and I, and it was Zecharia Sitchin who wrote the 12th Planet. Was that the book? And he was giving a speech, and I was talking with Giorgio Tsoukalos, and he was right there with his hair and everything from the Ancient Aliens. And I said, "Hey, are you going to see Zecharia Sitchin? He's giving a speech." He goes, "What? When?" I go, "Right now. We're going." He's like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna see if I can go in." And maybe my brother and I talked our way in, and we sat through his presentation. It was interesting, but about 10 minutes into it, I heard a laugh behind me, and I was like, it sounded familiar, and I turned around, and it was Giorgio. So he stopped what he was doing at his booth to come in and watch this lecture, and Zachariah passed away shortly after. So I'm glad he got to see it. I'm glad we were able to tell him. Then we got to hang out with Giorgio and Eric von Daniken.
Yes.
Got to hang out with him at Contact in the Desert with the Coast to Coast AM crew and all sorts of people up there, Jimmy Church and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated with the ancient alien stuff. You just have to wonder how much of the history that we know, how much of it is complete BS, how much of it is completely misrepresented. I don't know.
Right.
I'm fascinated by it, but like seeing those pictures, do we know if those pictures are doctored? Like, is everybody talking about them?
Or no, they're not doctored with the cloud and everything. No, those are real.
I mean, like thousands of people have the same picture, and we're like, "Oh my God! Like this is like a signal from God. Like this is the locusts coming."
Well, I don't know if that's had anything to do with it, but it was just like, oh, okay, there was a cloud, and then 3 weeks later, there's this massive earthquake. I don't know if they're actually connected or not, but it was just now after the fact, and we're looking at it. I was like, was that like an omen or a symbol of a sign of things to come? I don't know. So that's all the breaking news here. Is could they be related? Much like social media and the Chinese balloon, I don't know, but I can pull up more pictures on that if you want to get into that one. Let's see here, Turkey cloud.
MJ Sedona met Zachariah. Here we go, Zachariah Sitchin in 1977. Yeah, he's been doing this thing for a long time. Yeah, we met him in probably 2011, maybe 2010. It was like right around 2012.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. And let's see. Share. Look at that. So multiple pictures, multiple angles. It was definitely not fake.
And what did they say caused this?
Oh, there's a turkey on a cloud right there. I don't know the exact. It's a rare phenomenon. I don't know I'm just putting those together.
A turkey on a cloud. Yes, I do see that.
Okay.
Turkey on a cloud. That's the image we've been waiting for. Yeah, that's the turkey Erdogan.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay. Well.
Yeah. So end of days, Brian. Yes or no? Agree or disagree? Or do you think we're just going to continue to go on the Earth? There's nothing wrong. We maybe got to worry about a big comet like it took out the dinosaurs. But otherwise, we have this great open future, or are we due for a cataclysm that's going to hit the big reset switch? There's going to be a flood on the Earth. According to this, yeah, it's. I mean, people are going to survive, but a lot of people are going to be wiped out, depending on where you're at and how lucky you get. But you don't want to be on the California coast, or you might be the Arizona Bay. It could be coming. So.
Yeah, and that was taken from a skit, a comedy routine
by Bill Hicks.
From Bill Hicks. Yeah.
As an album, Arizona Bay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Learn to swim. See you down in Arizona Bay. And by the way, Maynard put his money where his mouth is. He lives 12,000 feet above sea level in a little town called Jerome, Arizona, at the top of a mountain. Jerome was once voted America's wickedest city. It was nothing but copper mining and brothels and bars and jails, and the jail broke off and fell down the side of the mountain one year. It was just a wild city, and now it's like a little hipster village. And so he has his Caduceus vineyards up there, and I think he lives up there somewhere. So he put his money where his mouth is. Yeah, he wrote songs about it. He buys into it. But anyway, I'm fascinated by this. I hate seeing earthquakes of that magnitude. I hate knowing what 5 to 10,000. Like, what number are we at? 12,000 people.
Oh, it is more than that. It's like 20,000.
Oh, we're 20 now. It's just.
So it was 19 point something. Yeah.
I was watching some of those videos, and it's just brutal. It's like it's so reminiscent of 9/11. Just watching these buildings disintegrate and just pulverize. They just drop, and there's people in them when it's you can see it, you can hear it, and it's just awful.
Yeah, gruesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let's pivot off of this into our final story. Something less gruesome, shall we?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, Pilk and Cookies sounds delicious.
Uh-oh.
Agree or disagree, Blake, that Pilk and Cookies sounds delicious?
No, it does not.
What is
And
this about? What is this about?
you said you were able to run the audio, weren't you? I'm going to send you a quick link. It's a 30-second commercial that's going to be airing, I guess, on the Super Bowl. Maybe, unless they cut it out, depending on how the test audience goes, perhaps. So see if you can pull that. So Lindsay Lohan is going to be in a Pepsi commercial, and it's on the Santa. So it's a play on that. Milk and cookies, but it's some sort of like a dirty milk drink or dirty Pepsi, but mixing Pepsi and milk together. So, I mean, at best, I can kind of think of it as like a root beer float that melts completely. Maybe it would still be good. You could drink it. But, Pepsi is very sweet. I don't know if you're going to mix that with milk. And they kind of show somebody pouring it, but they cut away before you would see probably a massive amount of foam come flying out. But yeah, I don't know if you can try to run that video, Brian, or I can try it myself just to make sure I can get the volume up. But MJ Sedona.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot here.
All right.
Quiet on the set. Okay, here we go.
That is one dirty soda, Santa. Pilk and Cookies.
That is one dirty Santa?
Yeah. Interesting.
That is one dirty soda Santa. Dirty soda?
Well, what else would you want to call it? It's Pepsi mixed with milk. That doesn't sound good.
Soda.
Yeah, what do you think? Is that good for Lindsay Lohan? So it's good that she's still
awake. Nice.
Yeah, she still looks cute. I don't know.
She had quite a bit of a rough patch there.
Certainly did. So I don't know if she's cleaning up. But yeah, got a big Pepsi commercial, which may or may not be aired at the Super Bowl. Seems a little post-Christmas, but weird selling. I don't know. You can do a Pepsi float, like I said, with ice cream. Milk and Pepsi? That sounds pretty gross to me, Brian. But I don't drink milk anyway, unless it's in a recipe. I don't drink Pepsi either. So what do you know? Maybe occasional root beer, Dr. Pepper. Very rare, but I'm more of an iced tea guy. I don't drink a lot of soda. Pop, as we call it in the Midwest.
Pop. Mom, can we go to Costco and get some pop?
Yeah, there you go.
That's how I talk too. Pilk sounds like it was invented by a 5-year-old left to his own devices. Yeah, that's a thing. Okay, well, speaking of sodas, she's asking, did that guy ever get his plane from Pepsi? Never saw the end of the Netflix series. Did you watch that one, Blake?
I did not, so I'm not sure about the reference. I don't know if that's from Lost or what have you.
No. There's a documentary. You should watch it. It's like Pepsi, Where's My Jet?
Ah.
I'll tell you, Michael Avenatti he played a prominent role as the attorney involved with the Pepsi case. Very interesting. That's where Avenatti got his start, and you know him from being in jail because he's a shakedown artist.
Of course.
Yeah, I would recommend you watch it. I know what happened with the jet, but I want people to watch it. I think it's an interesting watch. I don't want to ruin it. Sorry, I do know that. Oh, what's this? You're saying you would not live in Jerome. Your daughter lives there. It's like living on an eggshell. The entire Cleopatra Hill has been hollowed out by the mine, and the entire town is living on scaffolding. like I said, the jail fell out. It just fell down the mountainside. So it's all on scaffolding. It's been hollowed out. Now, I knew somebody. No, that was a different copper mine. But we went in, no, silver mine. We went into a silver mine and took some rocks out. That was awesome. I did not venture as far as I wanted to, but that's another story, I suppose. You're
Yeah, I've
saying
never been there.
Sedona's
Sedona. Yeah.
You've been to Sedona?
Oh, many times. I love Sedona. I go every
Yeah.
time I go through that area for sure. It's an easy stop.
MJ saying it's a protected and sacred place. Yep. So is Taos, New Mexico. Went over there, building off the grid homes. She also had a comment here saying that I must have met her at Contact in the Desert. I was sitting next to Jimmy and Rita helping Patty Greer. And Rita helping Patty.
Directed
Who was
energy.
your boyfriend at the time? Jimmy?
Jimmy Church? I don't know who that is. Jimmy.
Patty had a meltdown, suspected she was hit with a directed energy weapon.
Huh.
Yeah, that was wow.
Oh, I will have to come visit because it's very expensive in Sedona now. Got to get there in advance.
Well, look, Blake, easy. There you go. She has a guest house.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, good call.
Make it happen.
I will hit you up next time I'm there.
A long-rumored underground base under Jerome. There's a canyon that, no kidding, is called Government Canyon. Oh, come on. In Sycamore Wilderness that hikers go. There's a thing about hikers going missing. That's a strange topic. Because I like to hike. I like nature. I like camping. I like all that stuff. But I don't like disappearing as much. I don't think.
No,
I don't like
definitely
the concept of it on face value.
4 major vortexes out there.
Yeah.
In Sedona. There's a lot of
Speaking of LeBron James, speaking of LeBron James, earlier in the program, becoming the NBA all-time scoring leader, I do have a theory that LeBron James possibly initiated some sort of Illuminati ritual that led to him breaking the Cleveland curse and defeating the best regular season NBA team of all time in the Golden State Warriors when the Cavs won in an upset in 7 games to win the NBA championship in 2016. At that same spot, that same arena where the Cavs played their home games during that series, Quicken Loans Arena, it's now Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland. That's also where the RNC held their nomination for the National Convention. And that's where President Trump gave his acceptance speech. So I think, and that was also in 2016 where the Indians played the Cubs in the World Series. The Cubs were a cursed team because of the GOAT and then the drop, and there's a couple of things. So my theory is that LeBron, some sort of dark magic, probably some sort of ritual, some sort of vortex was opened up at that complex. It's called the Gateway Complex. It's where the Indians and the Cavs play, and they're literally right next to each other. And my assertion is that LeBron was able to create an energy vortex. We kind of split into a parallel dimension at that point. So the Indians were up 3-1 and should have won that World Series against the Cubs. Somehow they found a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, which broke the Chicago Cubs curse. Somehow President Donald Trump upset Hillary Clinton in what seemed to be an unlosable campaign for Hillary, right? So I think there's a parallel dimension where the Cavs did not win that championship, and LeBron was not able to break that curse. And all the other opposite things are true then. Then Cleveland Indians won that World Series right there and kept the Cubs out. Hillary won the presidency, and Trump never became president, at least during that term. So would I prefer this timeline or the other timeline? It's interesting to think about. But I just wonder sometimes. I just wonder.
Yeah, you never know. There's something being messed with. This could be a bigger play overall. Is that there's a how do you call it? There's time travelers meddling with our reality, or there's different parallel realities splitting on certain decisions, and that we've been jostled around. I'm not sure how this all works. So there could be an infinite number of parallel realities where the Cubs won the World Series or the Indians won, or it can so many different variables. So I don't know. And I don't know what these people are, the kind of powers they're messing with, or if there's aliens or AI or Anunnaki or any number of different things. So
yeah, these are my favorite subjects. We talk about politics a lot because it's just, it's all just right in front of our face. But I love this other stuff. I love the metaphysical. And if you like that type of stuff, check out Tool. Read their lyrics and listen to their songs. Watch their videos. But MJ Sedona saying she lives in the Cathedral Rock vortex that's under the portal mentioned in the Rendlesham Forest UFO case by James Pennison. Yeah, that Rendlesham Forest one was a wild case. And you're also saying that you're a big Cubs fan, and your husband is Bill Buckner. Okay, now,
is that true? No.
Pictures or it didn't happen? Stop it.
Yeah.
Or do we have to look that up? Who is Bill Buckner married? Is Bill Buckner? Let's see if we can find that. Oh, and I suppose Keith is asking, did he go to Bohemian Grove? We're back on LeBron? Well, I think so, right? Bohemian Grove is, I think Alex Jones first introduced most of the world to Bohemian Grove. Then I won't tell you that story, but I could tell you some of that story. I know somebody who has been there. Extended period of time.
Might be just another Bill Buckner, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. You're married to another Bill Buckner. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it wasn't the World Series. I had to get to the World Series, right?
Because that was the '86 World Series with the Mets and the Red Sox. But Bill Buckner was
that was the World Series. Yeah, that was the Red Sox. Yeah,
right. But Bill Buckner was a longtime Chicago Cub before he went to the Red Sox, I do believe, if I can remember.
But yeah, I do have a contact.
Hey, Brian, I have got to go to work. I thought this was going to be like an hour and a half show. We are way over our time again.
We're done. We're done.
Trying to text people like, "Am I working tonight? Do I need to work tonight? Hello." And so finally, like, yeah, I got to go, bro. I'm sorry. We got to tighten these things up a little bit. But it's all good. It's fun to be here, but we don't want to be doing 2-hour marathons every day. Hour and a half tops. We'll tighten it up, but it was great to have everybody. Thanks for your support and for being here. And we'll be doing these for Tuesdays and Thursdays. Love to talk more, but like I said, I got to go. So I'm just like, I'm climbing the wall here. Right. Huh?
Tell people where to follow you.
Twitter, TV's Blake Wally, and we'll go from there. Brian?
Excellent. And then, yeah, you can follow us. Just go on YouTube, The New American Media. You can find like 11 years of content, music and sports and politics and current events, all sorts of things. All right, Blake, go do your thing. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and everybody watching after the fact. Once it's uploaded. Appreciate you. Love you, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, guys. Peace. Take care. All right, peace.